Cleveland Browns are on the clock for the #1 pick. They're reportedly still decided between quarterback Sam Darnold and Josh Allen. Chris, who would you take if you were Cleveland?
Whew, man, Cleveland Browns. Because of Tyrod Taylor, I got to go with Josh Allen. I like Sam Darnold. I believe in the right situation. But unless a team can win me 6 to 10 games, I think Sam is better on a team like that. A team that's trying to rebuild, trying to find out what they're going to do. I believe Josh Allen's a better fit going into the future. Tyrod Taylor for at least a year and a half, then Josh Allen takes over because of his arm talent.
You're betting on the talent, and you don't need him to start immediately because of Tyrod, right? Like, if I'm reading that correctly. So
yeah.
A team like, we don't know that the Giants are drafting.
And he can do things you can't teach. He can throw in the windows that Josh Rosen and Sam Darnold will never be able to throw into. I don't care what kind of teams they play for. I don't care how they're coached. They will never have the arm talent of Josh Allen.
And the weather in Cleveland plays a part in your belief on the importance.
Well, he's a bigger guy. You know, I'm definitely not taking your guy Josh Rosen there with his skinny self.
Okay, well,
like He's not going to be able to make it in Cleveland.
Josh Rosen is the guy that I would go with at #1, but he wasn't one of the options of those two.
Why would you go with him, though?
Because I think he's the best quarterback in this draft. I'd take the best quarterback #1.
To the NBA, in a recent interview, Sixers rookie Ben Simmons was asked who he believes should win Rookie of the Year. He said, quote, me, 100%.
Yeah.
Simmons is an elite company. His 12 triple-doubles as a rookie are second most in NBA history, behind only Hall of Famer Oscar Robertson. CC, what do you make of Simmons proclaiming himself Rookie of the Year?
I was cool with that. Like, he was head above the rest of the class. I know Donovan Mitchell, I talked about him a lot because I wanted people to bring attention to his game, and what he was doing in Utah was truly special. For a rookie to be able to average 20 points in the Western Conference with no other superstars, this season was cast off. Yeah. They traded, let Gordon Hayward go, and then they drafted this kid out of Louisville. No, he's not going to be a superstar. Yes, he is going to be a superstar, but Ben had a tremendous year. Yes, he was the winner of the Rookie of the Year. I agree with him.
And I think CC put it well. Donovan Mitchell is going to be a star. Ben Simmons is a star. Right now, this moment, there are not 20 people better at basketball than Ben Simmons. He might end up making an all-NBA team as a rookie. It has been ages since we saw that. LeBron didn't even do that. Ben Simmons is clearly the Rookie of the Year, and that's no disrespect to if it was even close, the way he's played and his team's played since Embiid's been out with an injury, that closed all conversation.
Not a real rookie. Last night, the Pelicans clinched a playoff berth with a 113-100 win over the Clippers. The Brow, Anthony Davis, pouring in 28 points. How about this Pelicans team? 20-13 since losing Boogie Cousins. CC, how impressed are you by the Pelicans and AD getting to the playoffs?
Very impressed. It's easy to talk about AD, the Brow, and everything, yes, after he lost Boogie Cousins. But Alvin Gentry's done a tremendous job there as the head coach. It's been the reemergence of Rondo at the point, also Holiday playing the point and also the two there. Their players are really playing well. The head coach been able to, with the distractions, the owner died late in the season. After the Boogie Cousins thing, they've been able to deal with that. But I love to see younger players developing. Rondo, where's his career going to go? Man, he resurrected it with this New Orleans team. I like what they do. This has been an exciting year for what they're doing in New Orleans.
I'm glad you brought up Alvin Gentry because, yes, Rondo and Drew Holiday deserve credit, especially because a lot of people have written off Rondo as a productive NBA player. He's having a good year. Anthony Davis is having an MVP caliber season. He'll probably finish third in the award. But no other team other than Boston suffered a during-the-season injury as devastating as the one New Orleans did. And at least with Boston, it was game one, so you had the entire season to basically rebuild from there. They were humming. They were having their best season they'd had in New Orleans since they moved back to New Orleans. And then they lose Boogie Cousins. To be able to recover from that, make the playoffs, potentially end up with home court advantage in the first round of the playoffs is a remarkable job by all involved. I've been super impressed by that lineup top to bottom.
Finally, the Thunder beat Miami last night to clinch a playoff berth behind Russell Westbrook's 25th triple-double of the season. Nick, what is OKC's ceiling in the postseason now?
Their ceiling. Best case scenario for OKC. Go ahead and beat Memphis. Get the 6th seed. Now, if they beat Memphis, theoretically, they could go as high as the 5 seed, but I'm talking best case scenario. They don't want the 5 seed. Best case scenario is get the 6th seed. If you can beat Portland in round 1, have a gimpy Golden State coming in round 2. Maybe Steph. By the way, it's not like Steph has been announced he's back for round 2. We just know he's out for round 1, according to Steve Kerr. You get Golden State not humming fully. We know how they've struggled the last month. Beat them, and then get beat soundly, I would imagine, by Houston in the Western Conference Finals. I know they're 2-2 against Houston this year. I don't think in the playoffs they match up well with them at all. If they thread the needle just right, if the offense ticks up a couple levels above where it's been, if the defense maintains, that's their best case scenario. Now, there are a lot of ifs there.
Yeah.
There are a lot of what ifs, but that's why I think that's their absolute ceiling, is what going into the year, by the way, I think was what was expected by a lot of teams, that it would be they would be in or competing for the Western Conference Finals. I think that's their best case scenario.
Threading the needle to beat the Warriors in the second round. I don't know anything about sewing, but I feel like that is really, really hard to do without your glasses on. Where do you think the ceiling is for the Pelicans?
Second round of the playoffs. They would be happy to win a series. If they were to win a series and Paul George came back with them for next season, they signed an extension, that would be Christmas for them. So, no, I don't think they're a Western Conference as far as it being the finals. No, I don't see them beating Golden State, even without Steph. That second round matchup, I don't believe they can beat Golden State without Steph Curry. So, to me, their ceiling happens to be the second round.
So that's interesting what you just said there. So even if they end up, it's very hard for them to be the 7th seed. They would have to lose to Memphis to have a shot at that. But if they were to get Golden State in round 1, when we know Steph's not out there, you don't think they could beat Golden State without Steph?
Or round 1, I said round 2 though.
I understand.
Because in your scenario,
agreed, but
round
I'm asking,
1 or 2.
That's what I was asking you. You were talking round 2 there, but I'm asking you if they ended up with Golden State in round 1. You don't think they could beat them without Steph either?
No,
okay.
Not 4 times.
Okay. All right.
But you'd still have to consider them a success, having what they've gone through to get there.
No, I wouldn't. I mean, no, I don't.
Really?
I don't think what they've gone through. What have they gone through? They've
gone through being mediocre.
Yeah, I mean, I don't look. This isn't a team that's been ravaged by
going
injuries.
through wondering. They're in a search party trying to find out where Carmelo Anthony's legs went. Oh, he left them at the Olympics. Oh,
oh, God. And I mean, I understand they lost Andre Roberson, and you can look. Their defense has been different since they lost him. But going into the year, you would have said Roberson is clearly their 5th most important player. Now that we've seen who Melo is, okay, he's their 4th most important player. They've won 47 games. They're going to win 48 games. Last year, they won 47 games. They added Paul George. Even if you throw out the Carmelo part of it, you can't be 1 game better when your superstars are healthy throughout the year and you add Paul George. You can't. Not
Does it break your heart a little bit to throw out Carmelo?
No, listen, man. Future Hall of Famer
Fake
Carmelo
coffee.
Anthony.
Take a fake sip.
Greatest Olympian.
Fake coffee with a fake sip. Moving on to LeBron James. We should tell people you finished your coffee at 9 by 9:07.
Nah.
LeBron James, in excerpts of a new book just released, Heat GM Pat Riley said that he wished LeBron had stayed with Miami and that the team could have won 5 or 6 titles. But Riley also said that once LeBron decided to leave, he, quote, did the right thing returning to Cleveland. Reportedly, LeBron and Riley haven't spoken since that summer. CC, your reaction to Riley's comments?
Not that surprised at all. Pat is trying to position himself. I think the key part is the ending part. And that's where you said they have not spoken since the pitch that he made in Las Vegas to try to keep LeBron with the Heat and the hierarchy there in Vegas to try to get LeBron and his team to be like, yes, come back to Miami. So they haven't talked since then. There's a reason why they haven't talked, because they're not friends. It's not as if LeBron wanted to associate with Pat Riley and the Heat going forward. He was concerned about Dwayne Wade. He was concerned about Chris Bosh and their inability to continue to compete at a high level. So I'm not surprised at all right before free agency, right to trying to maybe mend the fences, that if LeBron decides to stay in the East, that the Heat could be one of several options. But to me, I don't believe that's a possibility. I don't think Miami is even in LeBron or his camp's conversation as far as going back there. He's going to stay in the East. It would be in Cleveland or going to Philadelphia. And if he's going to go west, it'll be Los Angeles, potential San Antonio, and Houston. I believe those would be the 5 real spots for LeBron to land.
Well, and I want to talk about what Riley said at the beginning there for a moment before I get to the end. That had LeBron stayed, we could have won 5 or 6 titles. No, you couldn't have. Had LeBron stayed, you would have finished with the same number of titles with LeBron that you had when he left. 2. Like, now keep in mind, LeBron saw the tea leaves coming on Dwayne Wade, but I don't think anyone saw the tea leaves on what Golden State was about to be. And I understand that would they have made the finals the way Cleveland did? Yeah, I believe so. But Cleveland's 1-2 in those finals. I think Miami would be 0-3 without many competitive finishes there. Like, we saw what the best case you could do against Golden State was when it's just LeBron. That was the first finals they went to with Cleveland when he took them to 6 games where he was basically using every possession himself. We saw the next year it took LeBron having what I believe to be the greatest 3-game stretch in the history of the sport to win that series. But let's not forget, in Game 6 of that series, Kyrie had 40 points. It was Game 5 or Game 6 of that series. Kyrie poured in 40 as well. Who's doing that if he stays with Miami? Also, while we didn't see it coming at the time, Chris Bosh's health situation doesn't change if LeBron stays in Miami. Chris Bosh still has that tragic blood clot that ends his career, or at least stops his career. Chris Bosh would tell you it's not ended yet. Like, now, as far as I do think Cece's right, Pat Riley's trying to open that door, at least slightly ajar. And what I would ask you, Chris, is Pat Riley has seen the Dan Gilbert thing, right? He saw that, well, LeBron patched that up with Dan Gilbert. It's not as bad between us as it was between he and Gilbert. Like, why couldn't he patch it up with me? Which is probably one of the reasons Pat Riley's trying to. There's a reason these excerpts are coming out right before free agency hits. Like, because he would like to see if LeBron would like to come back there.
Also, did anyone see Miami as a possible destination for LeBron when he was leaving Cleveland? No one was throwing Miami out there as though he's going to go to Miami. He ends up going to Miami.
It was a long shot, but Pat Riley made the presentation. And the biggest question with Miami, could the numbers work? Could he really be able to put together? This time around
or that time?
The first time around.
Okay.
Could the numbers work? And Pat Riley sat him down and let him know how him, Bosh, and Wade could all come to Miami, and he would make it work. So LeBron had to be convinced of that. But they were on the list.
And you're right that when it was first coming up, we were thinking Chicago or New York, and there were these rumors about that there was going to be this threesome in Miami. And what we didn't know was, as far as the numbers go, that guys were going to take less than the max, which is what ended up happening, right? Like, guys.
I was on TV. I did announce that where he was going. Because I had heard from the people that there was going to be an upset, and it was going to be Miami.
That was, though, when you said that, though, that was once the season was over, correct? That wasn't while he was. That was after the NBA Finals, before free agency, right? When you went on TV and said it, correct?
No, we're talking about from Cleveland to Miami.
That's what I'm saying. When you said that he was going to Miami, that was after the season had ended. It wasn't during the season.
Yeah. They didn't make the finals.
They didn't.
No,
Cleveland didn't make the finals.
I'm saying once the NBA Finals were over is the point that I was making.
I don't know the exact day. It was somewhere between when their season ended and before the NBA season ended.
Regardless, how realistic is this? How realistic is LeBron back to Miami?
There's a better chance of you starting the National Volleyball Association.
Okay, so let me tell you, the talks are begun. We're in early talks about that.
Yeah, I mean, it would be an enormous upset. Now, if you're a Heat fan, if he's definitely staying in the East, they're the third most likely team in the East. Like Philly, Cleveland, and Miami. There's not another team in the East.
It'll be Cleveland, Philly, then back to Cleveland.
Okay,
and then Miami.
Sure, but I don't. The other thing is that when he went there the first time, they had Dwayne Wade. They were able to bring in Chris Bosh. Like, we've talked about Bam Adebayo. He's a good story as a rookie. Hassan Whiteside's I don't want to call it a toxic contract, not a great contract. Tyler Johnson is a toxic contract. Like, who are these people coming with him, and what are the trade assets Miami were to have to bring another superstar with him? Like, it just doesn't. I understand what Pat Riley's doing, but to me, it's not plausible. It's not a realistic.
If it wasn't Pat Riley, we wouldn't be talking about it. There's a reason why they put it out there.
All right. Take a break. Coming up, why was Bill Belichick ripping Gronk? It's next on First Things First.
That's what you're going to have to do in the National Volleyball.